Hello, good morning, everyone. Ryan Thierry here with your host, Hunter McIntyre, aka Roscoe Plimsley. How's it going today, Hunter? What up?
Can you explain who Two-Tone Tony is?
It's really not a person. Maybe it's alter ego, but the name rhymed, so I thought it was dope.
Nice. Roscoe Pimsley is the name of a porn star director that I created a couple years ago with 17 Kangaroo Creativity Awards.
Wait, this is a real porn star name?
No, it's a porn director.
Porn director name?
I mean, if I have to get out there, I'll get in the scene just to spice things up. But I create the show.
Stunt cock.
I don't need to be in front of the camera because I know how to make art.
Okay.
That's basically. So every single year for my birthday, we all meet up, and it kind of stopped during the pandemic. And we'll probably have to lift it up again this year. But every single year since maybe 2014, 2014, we would meet down in Santa Monica and we'd all dress up. Like, you have to have something completely unique, and we're all in unison. You have to have a really good story. So a handful of years ago, we all dressed up like 70s porn stars. And I was like, I can't just be a porn star. I need to be the porn director. So that's how Roscoe Pimsley came up.
I mean, it's not out of the question that you could do a spin-off career and have your own porn directing business.
I've thought about it so many times, dude. I mean, like, it's my family mostly that keeps me out of this thing. It's my family. So the tough thing is like, not that I want to, like, that's not the career I want to chase, but I wouldn't be against just like dabbling, you know what I mean? Just having the opportunity to just get out there, learn some things, get some new skills.
I feel like the way that you are social and interactive, I mean, you could probably throw a stone at the coffee shop and meet another porn director that could like reel you in and kind of show you the ropes there in Malibu.
You want to know a funny thing?
Yeah.
There's this grocery store attendant at Vintage Grocers, and he plays rock and roll. He does the grocery thing. I don't really understand why he does the grocery thing, because it seems like he's got so many good things going on in his life. It's just like, this is his rock. Like, this is like the one place he comes to be chill. But he's been involved in the porn industry, and he's like, every time I see him, because like I'm in and out of Malibu, it's sporadic. So like, I'm not there daily. I'm there like every other week.
Yeah.
And every time I see him, he's like, dude, you ready to drop everything you're doing and get into porn? Because I'll get you there. And I'm
well,
like,
there you go.
He'll say it in front of other people checking out ahead of me or behind me.
So is this a director, or is this just somebody in the industry? He's just in the know.
I don't know what is it. Like, I don't really like dive deep. I'm like, oh, well, no, it's just he's an interesting character, to say the least. His name is Cruz.
All right.
And he's just the best guy. I mean, I've been going to this grocery store for 6 years, and he makes, when you get in the checkout line, you're like, I've gotten all my shopping done. I just want to get the fuck home and start eating. He gets you excited. Like, you sit there and you're like, I'll stay. You know what? I actually don't really need to go anywhere. So
keeps the conversation going. So it's not just an endless bagger conversation. You want paper or plastic?
No, he's a good guy.
His little stop and chat conversation is, so you want to be in porn?
Yeah.
Paper, plastic, and a side of porn. Here we go.
I go out of my way to make things as awkward or interesting for attendants every single time. Because you got to understand, let's just say that these people are going through several hundred interactions a day in transactions.
Yeah.
And so it's like, hey, how are you? And they're like, good. How are you? And you're like, good. Thank you. And that's it. And you're like, how am I going to uplift this person's day or absolutely throw them through a spiral and just freak them the fuck out? So 9 times out of 10, I try to do weird things, but I make it
because
nice.
that conversation is going to be their go to home, share it with their spouse. Guess what this customer asked me today? It's going to be their one story
in porn. Yeah, dude. So I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm still sick. Like,
sounds like, well, you did talk for about 8 hours on Saturday.
No, dude. I got up
Probably
at
more.
4:15.
Yeah.
And I started talking with like some rambunctious volume, probably starting by 4:45, all the way until we got home from that house party at 1.
Yeah.
And I was already sick going into that. So I showed up at Battle Bunker on Tuesday.
Oh, wow.
And we started loading sandbags, like marching orders Tuesday. And it hit me at some point on Tuesday. I was like, I'm sick, but I can't be the guy who shows up to work. No, I actually knew ahead of time. I knew driving down there that I was sick. I was starting to pick up, and I was like, hey guys, like, I don't want to be the guy who calls in and be like, I can't show up because I'm sick. Like, that's such a freaking weak thing. But I also hate it when people show up sick and get me sick.
Yeah.
But I had to just put my helmet on and go to war.
You just had to hunker down.
I had to hunker down, dude. So
hunker down in the battle bunker.
Yeah, it's still sitting deep inside of me. Like, I have this tickle, and I have this soreness and like kind of like an itchy lung.
It's probably all built up. You need some Mucinex, bud.
I'm gonna get it all.
You gotta battle that bug out.
Dude, this one really got me going. So I'm sitting somewhere where there's like a TV on. I don't know, it must have been like a store. And we are now currently what they call the triple-demic. We have
triple-demic?
The triple-demic.
Triple-demic. Okay.
Triple-demic. It's the triple-demic because of
probably flu, COVID, and what's the trifecta?
It's called RSV, I think.
Oh, that's a respiratory.
Yep. And man, I don't ever put on the news, but anytime I watch the news, it's such fear-mongering stuff. Like, I never would have ever put together the sentence triple-demic or the phrase triple-demic. And now,
I'll say the marketing department does a good job of getting you to tune into that headline.
I was fascinated. I had to go home and Google it because I was like, what the hell are they trying to sell us now? And I started Googling it. And I went down this rabbit hole, and this might be sensitive material to some people, but I just wanted to, let's see if I closed it down.
While you're getting that, I was going through headlines today. This headline caught my eye. Homeowner says hooker ghosts have taken over their rental property. I caught that at the coffee shop and burst out in a loud, boisterous laugh, and I got a couple looks. But I mean, it's a funny headline.
Yeah, I'd buy into it.
Hooker ghosts.
So what they were trying to sensationalize on the news was the fact that parents really needed to watch out for their kids and their health, and like the risk of potentially like extremely intense health issues. I'm gonna have you guess in order. It doesn't even make it down there, but I'm gonna have you guess in order in the United States what the most. I just want to see like the likelihood of children dying from any of these things that they were trying to pitch us on the TV. What do you think the number one highest thing is?
For little kids, I mean, are we talking babies? Because their huge thing is like hand, foot, mouth disease.
It's under 12. Under 12, I guess, was the number. 1 to 19, actually. 1 to 19 is this.
It's a disease that they're being hit with?
No, it's just the leading causes of deaths of people under 19. 1 to 19, so not like infants, but I'm talking about
All right, obesity. That's got to be on the list.
I mean, I guess it's number 7. I guess. Number 1 is firearms.
Really? Accidental, like, oh, check out this gun. Let's go play cops and robbers, and then it's like a real gun.
Yeah, 4,357.
Wow.
In 2020. What's number 2 if you had to guess?
Got fires. They start fucking around with fires and light the house.
Motor vehicles, 4,112.
Like 1 through 19, I guess it'd be on the higher end, like 16-year-olds dying because inexperience behind the wheel.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be something like that. Next one's third place. It's other injuries. So that might be that fire thing. Then it's congenital diseases. Then it's cancer in fifth. Then it's substance use in sixth. And then heart disease in seventh, which I assumed either they're born with it or like that might be have something to do with
Becomes the obesity, yeah.
But my point is like the stuff that they put on the news, like you're not talking about, like there's not like news blasted out every single day about how dangerous it is for your children driving or about firearms and stuff like that. I guess it's because it doesn't catch headlines.
Yeah.
Like I really would never sit there, you know, when I have kids and be like, I'm so worried about them getting the flu. I'd be like, yo, we're teaching you how to cross the street properly.
Yeah.
Teach you how to drive a car properly. If you see a gun, don't fucking touch it. Yeah, like all that kind of stuff. But it's just crazy. Like I did all the research on this. I think there's like it's around like 600 people, kids a year that die from the flu. No, actually 137.
Wow.
I'll be 138. I'm going down.
No. Hey, hang on. Big headline news. So you know the Migos, the trifecta, the three people the Migos take off, the one guy that dated Nicki, the girl rapper. Well, anyway, Takeoff was shot dead at a party. Like, ho, Miko. Look at this. Rapper Takeoff from Migos. So like walk it like I talk it. Walk it like I talk it.
Dude's shot dead at the age of 28?
Yeah.
That's a big bummer, dude. What did he do?
I don't know. He's killed in a shooting in Houston.
He's got to stay the fuck out of Houston.
You know, these people tag their locations, and I almost think it's better to like do the area, take your pictures while you're there, and then after you leave, hour later, post the picture, post the location that you were at. So you aren't giving these people like a big old bullseye that if you want to take somebody out, hey, come and find me. I'm right here. I've just tagged my location.
Dude, I was pretty heartbroken when Nipsey Hussle got shot to death.
Yeah.
Nipsey Hussle was a guy, like that was like one of my first ever, like I'm getting into this kind of thing. I'm like, hey, this dude's good.
Yeah.
He was clever. He just had his shit together, dude. He was really good. I'm not going to say I'm that big of a fan of Migos. No offense. Like it's tragedy that this guy passed away, but
yeah,
I didn't align with him as much. But fucking A, man. Dude, one of the people that was at Battle Bunker this weekend, by the way, had a security guard with them.
Really?
Yeah.
He was just walking around with his own personal security?
I mean, dude, yeah, if you get to a certain level of popularity and you're like all over the place.
Was it one of the top people that were like top 5, I would hope?
No, but it it's one of those kind of things where it's like, I don't know if you saw Nancy Pelosi, her husband got attacked by like a guy with a hammer or something.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, dude, if you're going to get popular and you're going to be controversial in any kind of way, like even being a rapper, like those guys probably sung about stuff that offended somebody, talking about running certain kind of hoods or fucking dealing drugs or whatever the fuck it is. Not to say that those guys did those things, but typically that's what rap's aligned with these days. And, you know, Pelosi, everybody fucking hates Pelosi. I don't know why they beat the shit out of her husband. Her husband just crushes the stock market.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he doesn't have any like tips or anything. He's just very good at choosing stocks that are going to hit it big.
But even that, man, fucking A, you get pissed off. You're like, this guy's winning too much. I got to get my hammer. But you got to imagine, dude, like you hit a certain level of fame.
You ever think about getting your own personal security? You need like a big old hoss boss to take care of you.
I'll tell you 2 funny stories.
Yeah.
One, I used to work out of Miami and I became friends with this family that was so beyond wealthy and they loved to party. And I would always party with them because I used to be a big party animal. They loved bringing me around to party because I just wouldn't stop partying.
Yeah.
They always had a security guard. And I'm not kidding you. When you have a security guard, for some reason, it doesn't matter what you're doing in life, You just always like walk through everything as if there's no walls, no lines, no doors. And it's not like, are you twitching?
I don't know what's going on. Cardi
Yeah.
B. Yeah, that was it. Thank you, Julian B.
But
Yeah.
dude, this guy, the security guard, would literally pick people up and take them out of the room. If they didn't want us partying, they'd take us to the front door and through the lines without question. Security guards were just amazing. If I could afford it, 100% I would. Now, here's the funny story. When we moved from Rhode Island, we all dropped out of college.
Mm-hmm.
We all moved from Rhode Island to Malibu. One of my friends had been making tons of money on the stock market and just killing life. We called him Modini. He was the person who fronted our whole year of existence for the first year of me living in Malibu.
Mm-hmm.
He flew all of our friends, 7 of us, out from Rhode Island to Malibu in a mansion. And everybody had their own like position at the company. I was the physical fitness instructor. I was the health and wellness coach. And I used to get everybody working out. And it was fun. But he had Mingo, a bouncer from a bar in Martha's Vineyard we used to party at. And he flew this dude out, and he was our security guard. And literally, no joke, Mingo would be our security guard whenever we go out partying. And many times when I get too drunk and rowdy, and I'm a big-ass dude. I'm like 210 pounds at the time.
Yeah, you take up space.
Mingo's like 330. Mingo would pick me up like a puppet and just take me away. He's like, Hunter, it's time to go to bed. And I'm like, like,
come here like a sack of potatoes.
Dude, Mingo was the greatest. I actually got Mingo to lose 60 pounds in 3 months of us being together. It was freaking awesome. Yeah, but it was pretty crazy, man. Like I can't imagine, like I probably am going to spend the rest of my life between mountaintops, meaning I'm going to try to do Malibu, the top of a mountain here in Crestline, and maybe Montauk or like Rhode Island. Those would be my 3 places, and I don't really want to go anywhere else.
Wait, like living there or just climbing to the top of the mountain in
living
the cities?
Living.
Yeah, living.
I'm going to live on top of a mountain in Malibu. I'm going to live on top of a mountain here. I don't think there's a lot of people coming for me, and anybody who's coming for me, I think I got a better chance. I think most security guards, unless I got into like a really, really gnarly altercation with them, I could either get away from them or I could probably beat them up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, typically you're above average height, so you could do one of those like in grade school where it's like, come on, hit me, and you just put your hand on their forehead and they're like swinging like this and they can't even touch you because you got that reach.
Dude, I was in military school, and I will never forget the smallest kid got in a fight with the biggest kid. And the biggest kid, small kid, was like really jacked, like really ripped little fucker. And the tallest kid, I mean, the smallest kid had to be like 5'4". The tallest kid had to be 6'4", 6'6", like just a fucking giant. Big, gangly, goobery kind of guy, but so big that like you didn't want to mess with him at all. You knew that you'd probably get your ass kicked. And he grabbed a hold of this little kid and started shaking him. He's like, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? He's like, let go of me. Let go of me. Let go of me. He just punches this kid in the temple. Immediately blood pops out of his ear.
Whoa. And
the dude's down, unconscious. So I don't trust small people.
Yeah. They're feisty. They're fightery. They're fightery. He's widery.
Yeah.
He's widery.
I feel like we've taken this in so many crazy directions. Still, let's go back to update nudes and continue this thing. Sure. Halloween, I didn't dress up at all. I didn't really do anything. I was so dead from Battle Bunker. I mean, I guess I dressed up as a race director. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. I had the Dahmer shades on and a white t-shirt. So I was like, I don't have anything. I have this white t-shirt.
I guess we went out on Saturday. But that was a junior varsity party at best.
Yeah. I did not. I got back at like 10:30, 11 by the time I found my car, and I crashed hard.
Last night?
No. It was last night. No. I put the candy out on the doorstep. I'm saying on Sunday. I crashed hard, and then last night was like a real chill night. I put out candy on the doorstep, and the kids came up and got their candy.
Dude, I don't have that level of maturity. If I saw a bucket full of candy, I would have poured the whole thing in my bag and walked away.
I had a little dry
take a penny,
race
leave
board.
a penny.
Yeah.
It's like user
They
choice.
did good. I had 4 bags, and there was even a little bit left for me. But, with this transformation challenge, I picked all that shit up and threw it in the back of my closet right now. Put all the beer back in the closet. It's done.
Yesterday, I had 3 candy bars, and I'm
Mhm.
not a candy person. I'm not
Oh, I
not a
had
candy
donuts. I had
person.
a Danish. I
I had
I
donuts
lived it
too.
up.
I
Yeah.
had 2 donuts. I had a Cinnabon. Jeez, man, I'm dying.
Ooh, Christopher von Hoff. Favorite part of Battle Bunker was Hunter calling me beefcake. I could see it.
I bet you got thick.
All right,
Caked
slow
up,
your
dude.
roll, beefcake. What
Yeah.
was the context?
Yeah. Give us some story here, dude. Type in a little bit of the story because I can't remember me calling you a beefcake. Christopher, we need a little bit more details behind this. All right, I just want to give one crazy story, which is I read about here, and I feel like we're just giving the bad news, but the bad news is what usually gets to the top. Did you hear about this this human stampede in Korea where like 150 people died?
No. What was going on?
Stampede in Korea,
Do you have a fire alarm going off?
probably. I don't think anything's happening. 150 plus people killed. They were like all in this like this alleyway, and they just started
Crowd.
running down. I just cannot imagine how people stomp each other to death.
You just get going and you catch a clip in the ground, and then you fall over and you got nothing but people trampling behind you. That's what scares me with like running with the bulls. Like I feel like I'd be able to outrun, from like keep ahead of the last person. But then if you catch a lip in the ground and you fall on the ground, you're gored, you're done.
Yeah, well, I feel terrible. Like that would be such a tragic death because you could probably be smothered, everything. It'd just be so fucking scary.
But why were 150 people gathered together? It was just out in the street celebrating, and then something happened. Decided to run.
Supposedly they were in this like alleyway where like a couple bars and lights are at, and they all just started charging, and people were just getting crushed. It just seems super crazy to me.
Crowd surged on Saturday night. We could hear people, crowds. Was this at possibly a nightclub?
I don't know.
ITA Wan Club, the Iatan Wan Club, poured out of our club, and the crowd poured out of our club saying, "Don't push, don't push." Wow.
Oh, God. That's so gnarly. Next, I want to talk about Tom Brady is still keeping it together. I mean, like, he's getting his shit kicked in, but at the same time, he's keeping it together, dude. Broke up with his wife of 14 years or something like that.
So it's officially he's done with her?
They're done.
Who's getting the mansion? That thing you could rent out and you could have 100 people and still not know that who's in the house.
They sold one in Tampa. Where's the mansion?
The mansion was like Waterside.
That's
got to be it.
They put that in the market. I saw all this stuff and I was like, because I'm keeping up with Dad's stuff, and Dad kind of just drips information to me all day long. Tom Brady, though, you know what's interesting? I don't know why he's still doing it to himself, but he's got guts, dude. He's still second in the league, or at least in his conference. He's got a 3-5 record right now, and he's just behind the record. Falcons at 4-4, so it's really not that bad for all the shit that he's going through.
He is the pure definition of when you come onto the field, you leave your personal problems on the sidelines, and it's game time. Pure, he should write a book on mental toughness, because I don't know that anybody else would be able to just like going through divorce, all these things that are going on with like probably splitting assets. And then he's like, fuck it, I'm just going to focus on my game, and he's killing it.
Yep. Dude, did you see the Michigan State brawl in the tunnel? You see any content on that?
I saw Dave Portnoy did like a green screen behind and saw these guys go crazy. Was it one of those where they're crossing back over and they did a crisscross to get back to their
one of them just went the wrong way down the tunnel. It was a University of Michigan guy got in the tunnel of Michigan State, and they really beat the piss out of this guy. And it's all on camera. This is what I don't get anymore. Like if you're in like a dark alleyway, even a dark alleyway is you're in trouble these days. Unless you're in the middle of nowhere and there's not many people out there and no one's got their phones, like
somebody's gonna have a camera.
They're gonna film you. And dude, these guys got their names on their jerseys, and they're just beating the crap out of this guy. And did you know, like
They got to
shit,
be
dude.
filing charges. And then dummy, you're on scholarship. You don't think that the university is going to say this is bad PR for us? So
they're already
revoking your scholarship?
suspended. I bet you they'll probably get expelled. What I thought, first of all, was just poor leadership. I was like, dude, it's not these kids' fault. Like, somebody got these guys so riled up to make them think that they could do that. Like, the right team, like Belichick would just like can and rip people apart. And like, you got to have good leadership there, because
that coach has got to strike the fear of God. Like, we aren't messing around. Like, you go out there and these people aren't gangbanging. Like, it's a freaking rivalry, but they went the wrong way and you decided to get a beat down.
Dude, if I was the Michigan coach, I would literally
That's hardball.
I'd PT my guys for 2 weeks straight, no practice. I'd make them sit in the water in the lake. I'd be like, you guys fucked up.
Just
gonna
freeze
sit
them
in this
out.
water.
I just make them run stairs, puke
over and over again. 2 weeks. Well, it says right here there's fights all throughout the game, but that's just poor leadership. Like, what do you expect? I punched people in the face all the time when I was that age. I did. It took until like a certain point where I recognized like I couldn't do it anymore. But these coaches should rip these kids apart. Like, that's the job of a coach. Like, you're teaching people and you're instilling values. You're giving them better characteristics, not only from on the field, but off the field, so on and so forth. So,
because isn't that the role of like a football coach? A lot of players are like, oh man, I never had a role model growing up. And so you kind of look for the coach as what your role model is. And I think it starts from the top, the top of management.
I have to say, I believe that the majority of the trouble that I was in when I was younger came from the fact that I had shitty leadership and shitty mentors. Like, my parents, I don't blame them, but they weren't really doing anything. They weren't doing anything to really like teach me the way. They were just like, don't do that. And I was like, that's not really teaching. That's like just saying don't. And everybody knows when they say don't do something, you're enticed to do it more. Like, hey, don't touch the liquor in the cabinet. You're like, well.
Don't touch the hot stove. Well, is it really hot? Let me see.
Dude, I'll never forget. I started drinking at a very young age because I remember like people would be over the house and they'd have parties and stuff. If anybody left a glass of wine down or a beer, I'd run up and just scull it real quick. Just like, boom. And
like morning after or day of? Like in the party?
Yeah. Day of. I'll never forget. First time I ever got drunk. This is what did it to me. I'm 9 years old. We're in Florida.
9. Okay.
I didn't know what I was doing. So this is like truly like a way in over my head situation. My step uncles, they're all from Kentucky. There's 4 of them. They all come in from Kentucky. Our family comes in from Connecticut. There's my dad. There's my 3 brothers. There's my 4 uncles. Everybody's having a good time.
Was this a family reunion?
No, it's just Christmas.
Oh, okay.
It's Christmas. Everyone's having a good time. And we're in the kitchen. All men right now. So it's like a very like tribal, strong masculine kind of moment.
Oh, yeah.
And we're sitting there or standing there, and all of a sudden they reach into the freezer and they're like, oh, yeah, you ready, boys? My uncle whips out a jar of moonshine. I've got no clue what it is. They drove down with this thing.
And this isn't the apple pie kind of moonshine that you get from Walmart. This is the clear mason glass jar, clear white lightning.
Like a big glass of water. Like,
I got one of those in my cabinet right now. I know what you're talking.
Everyone's taking rips off it. They're like, like everybody's making this noise, but they're like beating their chests. Like, yeah. Everybody gets to have it. Gets to my brother. My brother's 11 or 12 at the time. And it comes to my turn. And I was like, hey. And they're like, no, dude. Come on, you're too young. And I was like, what? Like everybody but me? They're like, yep.
Oh.
Can't touch the stuff. Huge mistake. They should have poured me like a microscopic shot and let me just have something.
Just give you a taste.
So everybody leaves the room. Everybody kind of leaves. And like, I'm like, all right, cool. And they put it back in the freezer. I go to the mason jar after everyone leaves. I take some time off and I rip this thing. And I'm talking about like big gulps. And I just didn't know. And You get the burn and everything, but you don't know what you just did.
Yeah.
I don't remember anything beyond that point. I just remember being on the ground going, like in a ball. And my dad's like, get up. It's time to go to bed. And I was like, Dad,
The world is spinning.
Yeah. And then his dad's like, get up. And he grabs me by my arm and picks me up, and I projectile vomit all over the room. Oh, gosh, dude. But, but that's what I'm trying to talk about. That's like this leadership kind of thing where these guys got to take the role of teaching them like, hey, it's like really cool to punch somebody in the face, but the reason why we don't do it is so
we can give potential head injuries. People could die,
or you could lose your scholarship. Like, where are you guys going without your scholarship? Because trust me, like, you guys cause problems like this. There's not a team in the country that will touch you.
That Mercedes that you're driving, gone. That $250,000 car, gone.
Dude, that's so crazy that these kids are getting paid that kind of money now.
And now it's not under the table. Now those guys can be like legit sponsored.
Yeah. I mean, it was alarming.
Hey, Chris came back. It was after the FUBAR event.
Well,
after completing the 4 rounds, probably.
I'm proud of you, Chris.
Good job, bud.
Super proud of you.
That shit was very hard. I can't imagine.
It's so crazy how 100-pound sandbag, because there's a good buddy of mine, Phil, who qualified for the top 20 people that get to go to Wodapalooza, like the best in the world.
Yeah.
And that's like some hard ass CrossFit stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Big barbells. The dude cleans in like the mid 300s, snatches 280. Like, it's freakish.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, he got his ass handed to him in that workout.
He was there at the FUBAR?
Yeah.
Yeah. Shit, I did one round with it, and I did 5, and then ran 50. Dropped it, and I was like, all right, I'm good. It's tough.
Yeah. Right now, I have to do this like big breakdown of how all the reps work and explain to people because, I intentionally did not explain things too deeply to people. Yeah. I just made it very simple for them. The best way to understand this workout is to do the work that you're told to do and be ahead of everybody else.
Yep.
And
I feel like the more details that you get, the more like analyzation, and you're like, well, if I do this and I dog it here, but I can go better here. It's just like flatline, one sentence, do better than the person next to you. Run faster than the person next to you.
And that's how Isaiah ended up winning. It's pretty crazy. I went up to Kent and I went up to him because I knew that he was in the lead. And I said, dude, this is the last workout. This is now
the
Hypercon. And I was like, this right here decides who wins this whole thing. And he's like, no way, dude. I'm way ahead in points.
Which is crazy because he had the same explanation as everyone else with like the one sentence blanket statement, but you actually had the knowledge of what was going on with the points. I feel like he would kind of take it more to heart by you saying, hey, this matters. But he's like, no, I got it. I don't know how he would be calculating more behind the scenes than what everyone else would.
He was way too cocky about it. And he was the only person I gave a hint to like that. He should have known, like a dummy you'd have to be dumb not to know what position you were in, because he came in like third place at the first one.
He killed it on FUBAR. He was out the lead. He was doing 2 or 3 laps, at least 3.
He won FUBAR.
Yeah.
But then he did badly. He did badly in the obstacle course race. And he only ended up losing by 2 points. It was exactly that. And I think, on Friday or Thursday, I'm going to do a show where we really, really break down some of this stuff. And we're going to bring some athletes on to discuss this so we can just kind of like go over it with Austin, have some fun. So yeah, that's something I'm really looking forward to doing. But, the battle bunker thing, just to kind of give it a basic recap, like I am amazed that we did what we did with the resources that we had. We showed up on Tuesday and it was, other than the course, like nothing was done.
How so? Were the sandbags not done? Ruck packs not packed?
Oh, dude, like I'm talking about that literally, I don't know which Marshall that is. I'm assuming
I think it's Marshall Couples.
Yeah. Let's just say that like none of the rowers were there. None of the Sand was there for the sandbags. The field wasn't painted. The scorecards weren't assembled. I hadn't even met any of the staff because, I live in Malibu and I'm traveling all over the place. Austin's the point of contact for all this stuff. And I'm just relaying messages, doing phone calls, trying to just figure this stuff out. And we're going through all this. And it's like, I get there and I'm like, wow. Basically right now we have a couple mounds of dirt and an obstacle course race. And there's hundreds of people coming this weekend, sponsors, athletes, spectators, so on and so forth, volunteers, broadcast team, all this stuff. And I'm like, wow. And the acceleration of time and progress that we had in that short period of time was just crazy. Yeah. By the time we got to Friday night, I was like, I still don't even know if we're ready. And I'm telling you right now, we get everything set up. The next day we're there and it's we're getting the day started. We're setting things up. The sunrise, came up a little bit slower than we expected it to. I don't know how. And
I saw that. I asked I asked Siri, what time does the sun rise? And it said 7 a.m. And I know we were going off at 6:40.
Well, you got to know we had X amount of work to get done, and we had to use all hours. It was an all day event. If we didn't start at that time, I remember texting with you and Austin, hey, can the one place have our rowers ready? And that was getting stuff ready Friday midday. We were texting them just after lunch or just before lunch. Hey, can we go pick up this stuff right now? Yeah. So Triple R, first workout.
Ooh.
The way I designed this thing is we originally were going to do, the Olympic Training Center has a lake next to it. Yeah. There's a path behind the lake. We were going to do this path run. Yep. It is by far Austin crashing that cart. We're going to get into that in a second. But you're going to run behind the lake, and then we were going to have you paddle across the lake, and then you were going to come up off the lake and come to the track and finish the last piece.
Wait, this was the original design?
This was the original design.
Oh,
and then all of a sudden, the logistics and the cost and everything just all of a sudden just came on top of us, just a million tons of just problems.
Yeah.
So that changed. So then all of a sudden it gets down to we do want to ruck, rucking, the fact that rucking needs to be addressed in these kind of workouts because it is first responder, military style training specifically. So we wanted that in there. We can't be in a boat. So obviously what's the best thing you can do? You get on a rower. That was great. And then last but not least, I created this sprint aspect because you have to understand, I wanted this last chance opportunity. That field goal that wins the championship.
Yep.
That's what I wanted. I wanted that. And I also wanted it to be really good on camera. And let me tell you, dude, the camera, if these guys got it properly, is going to look insane. Because that 800-meter run at the very end, with the men at least, was one of the craziest things I've ever witnessed in my category of sport. It was the fastest thing I've ever seen. And that changed the dynamic of so many of these races. And so many people were freaked out. How did that happen? I said, guys, run fast on that 800.
You gotta run fast. Because that was kind of its own, it wasn't its own event, but that run alone from rower out on the track back to rower.
It was weighted different.
It was weighted different. Yeah.
Yeah. It was weighted differently. And I'm going to explain this, but it's multiples of 3. So if 2 athletes finish in 25 minutes, but one athlete finishes their 800 in 2:30, one athlete finishes their 800 in 3 minutes, and there's 10 places between them, there's a 30-second time penalty between the two of those two guys. You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Dude, I cannot wait to get the film on this. So I want you guys to understand, we get this thing started, Triple R, and I'm so excited. The cart's rolling, and I'm looking backwards. Austin's driving. I'm looking backwards at the field. We've got Matt in the back with the camera, and Matt's.
So you guys are filming in the cart, and Austin's driver.
We're filming this for the post-doc stuff, and it was really great. And we're driving, and there's this pack of guys just charging at us, and I'm like, yeah. And all of a sudden, I just start to feel the cart Oh, we're like tipping. I turn around and there's film of this. I got to get it. And I'm just like, holy shit. And then like, boom. And I jump off the cart and just start running ahead. Now, I'm totally freaked out because I'm like, oh my gosh, like these people don't know where they're going.
Mm-hmm.
And if we just wreck the cart, I'm going to have to run ahead of these guys the entire time for 2 miles, even though they have backpacks on, but they're racing.
Oh shit! This was at the start of the ruck.
Yep, and I'm in combat boots.
Yeah, hiking boots. I saw those hiking boots.
Yeah,
yeah.
And I had to run maybe the first like 400 to 600 meters with them, and I was just like, oh my god! And I'm looking back all the time. I'm like, please God, say that this cart's not totaled. Please God, say this cart's not totaled. And
what did he run into?
He just wasn't paying attention. And by the way, yeah. Austin, I love you, but you continued to fuck up the rest of the course. Austin just kept on getting so excited about what was going on. He kept on looking back.
He wanted to see. He needed like one of those mirrors that parents have to look at their young ones in the car seat in the back. He needed that reverse mirror.
Dude, and he almost ran into multiple other things. And I eventually was like, dude, I was like, Austin, enough. I was like, dude, we cannot wreck this cart again. And it was crazy. Like I mean, I get it. Like you want to see all this hard work that
you got to see your hard work put to practice.
Yeah. So we get through, and now we get there. And now this is something like I could not have foreseen. We get on the rowers, we start moving, and these guys, I feel so bad. And I've never seen this before, and that's the only reason why I didn't know it could have happened.
Mm-hmm.
But the rowers were skipping. They were not catching. And I don't know.
What I heard, it was like it was going 50 meters, 250, and then staying for 250 after 3 pulls, and then going back to 50 meters. It was like massive jumps, and then it would stay there.
It wasn't like that. It wasn't like that. It would not read the pace. It would not grab. So you pull with all this force, and it would now all of a sudden not catch. So you would just go completely loose and almost fall off the back of it. And you know what? Like the athletes were troopers. They accepted what happened, and we adjusted based on knowing their times when they got there, everything like that. We made some adjustment. It only happened to 5 rowers. And then we adjusted for the women coming, but that scared the shit out of me. And then they got off and they absolutely annihilated the run. And then by the time the women came through, like we had completely addressed the issue. We had one busted rower completely. We pulled that out there. No, Brian, the rowers were not new. They were all from this one training center, which I don't know. We rented all these rowers. Half of them were from Invictus and the other ones. And interestingly enough, all of the rower issues came from not Invictus. We got 2 from Austin owned, 10 or 11 from Invictus, and the rest were from this other training center. And this is where like collegiate level rowers train, and all of them, they were just having issues. And I don't know what the heck's going on because I've never seen it before. But
it wasn't because the rowers hung out there overnight and the dew or damp?
I don't think so, because here's the thing. We set up all the rowers from this one company in the middle, and then we did 5 and 5 on the sides for Invictus.
Yeah.
No issues on those ones. And they sat in the same place.
Yeah.
So there was something wrong with this company. And no offense, I'm not trying to say you're bad people for it, but it was 100% isolated to their rowers that had this issue. So, and interestingly enough, it happened the night before. I can show you text messages right now. Like I literally contacted Shane, the guy who manages Dark Horse Rowing. I contacted him. I was like, dude, for some reason, this flywheel's not catching. And he told me that there's some piece that is that was off about it. So it specifically came from then. He was the person who introduced us. I was like, dude, like I'm down a rower. This is not good. And so we just had to swap it out for one extra rower that we had. And that was like our one oops rower if we needed an extra.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just not good. And by the time the girls came through, we completely adjusted it. The girls had no problems. The only person who bumped into a problem was Weeks, and we adjusted her time because of it. So anytime there was an issue, I went in and I did this like whole mathematic thing where I was like, all right, you got in here. I know this, that, and then like, you know, we had to adjust, but still pretty crazy. That was the only bump that we had all weekend was rowers, and it was something we couldn't control, and we'll do better next time. Triple R though, great endurance event, very well rounded, really cool, great for camera. Fubar was this one where it was just like mayhem. There was one man out there that sounded like he was giving birth to a child every time he did reps. He was a firefighter.
I like I think it was the second round of guys, and the head judge, he very deep bellowing voice and accent, and you just hear the voice in George, So
get in the box. Get in the box.
Why are you walking? Why are you walking? Get up, run. Why are you walking?
My favorite was get in the box. Get in the box. Get in the box. And I was like, Jesus.
Why are you even walking right now? Dude, I'm tired. Doesn't matter. Keep running.
Great guy.
I loved it.
MVP there, I'm probably going to give points to Carly. Carly Wopat, like, got the work done.
Yeah.
Like, threw this bag around like a child and then ran with it. And she was only a few points off the top guy's score.
Wow.
Yeah. She was a beast. She was absolutely.
It was fun to watch. Each round had their own leaders and everything. It was just fun to watch them take down this very heavy ass weight.
Yep.
And see how they dealt with it.
I made a post this morning about it, and I said that it was a really cool thing about the workouts is like each and every single workout showcased unique champions. Like Rylan dominated the first workout, and Ida really crushed the first workout, and then both of them didn't do like terrible, but they did not go anywhere near close to the top the second round. There was this really she also did 4 extra cleans. I don't know who did that.
Ida?
Oh, Carly did extra cleans. Yeah, that was another thing that we had to time adjust. So I counted out how long it took for reps. We had to time adjust it. One thing that like people have to notice, and I'm gonna like have a conversation about this and make a post. Like, my job was being the race director. So I created these workouts. I created the time flow. I created the scoring. I was just managing the field at all times. Like, hey, here are the athletes. Here's the work that needs to get done. This is going to be the start time. This is going to be the movement standards. And this is going to be your guys' roles, and judges switch out like this many times. And here's the clock. So I would keep an eye on the clock. I keep an eye on the judge. I keep an eye on the head judge. And people would come up to me afterwards. They're like, this and this and this is happening. I was like, guys, I taught this team to the best of my ability. And I gave them their own level of responsibility. Like, I'm not going to be a micromanager. Like, I'm going to do this. And then anything that comes to me after the fact, I will adjust to the best of my ability.
You did day before you went through with the judges, and then day of, right before, like each round. Right before, you're like, judges, come over. And then you had the sandbag in your hands, and you're like, all right, this is what a drop squat is going to look like. This is what a no rep is. And you were going through, and then, all right, 3, 2, 1, go. Yep.
So, you know, there's adjustments, and there were some flaws in there, but that's sport. Like, you know, sometimes judges make bad calls in all sports, and sometimes athletes make bad calls in sports. So, you know, speaking on a higher level and a more positive level, like Fubar came across perfectly. Like, we had to adjust it from its original inception. Originally, I wanted these people to do the similar workout, and then we were going to have them actually make a bunker out of sandbags, because I wanted it to really like solidify the name Battle Bunker.
Was it originally 150 pounds for the guys?
Yes.
Holy cow.
But I mean, listen, this originally came from a workout that I created called Dogfight. It was 5 cleans, 5 squats, 50-meter carry, 5 rounds. And I used to do this with a big sandbag called Big Blue.
I remember that in your gym. You used to do this to get ready for the Stone Cold Steve Austin that thing.
Now, I have footage of this on my phone that I'll show you. Just to show people that this is capable. And this is like not premier level hunter. This is the level of hunter where I just got back, and I had gotten really sick over the summer. I was not the best version of myself. Let's see here if I can find this bad boy. Come on, this is a really good workout. I want to show you guys it. Here you
Are
go.
you doing dogfight?
This is it.
Here we go. That's 150-pound.
Race director, battle bunker. This is food bar, test workout, 150-pound bag. Ideally not the situation we want to have. We are going to do 5 cleans, 5 squats, 30-meter carry, and we're going to go from there.
You going all the way down, or are you going to use the sandbag that's right there?
I am. I'm just turning on the clock.
Uh-huh.
I just want people to know, though, that this is the original design, and we adjust because, like, you know, just we understood that we wanted to get different things.
1.
Typically, we're going to want to go over the shoulder.
That's a big boulder. I feel like for some competitors, this might have been a DNF.
Totally.
Carry it. Ooh. Ooh. You know, if somebody's listening to this audio, there could be a question as to what you're actually doing there in the background.
So when I originally designed this thing, I would make videos of all of these workouts and I would send them to Austin and I would time it. And I think I finished this whole workout in 4:40.
Wow.
Yep. So there was a lot of work that went into all these things. And then our original idea versus the idea that we ended up having when, like, you know, once we got all done with it, because we started to understand, like, hey, equipment versus, like, you know, return on reward versus the ability of athletes, all these kind of things, and things adjusted.
Yeah.
Girls dominated food bar. A lot of crazy experiences out there witnessing. My favorite was watching these people afterwards, because that sandbag run, there was dead bodies on the ground afterwards. And like after every single time, I'm sitting there and people would rush across the field after they're done because people would see bodies on the ground and they would send medics.
Yeah.
Now, the first couple times that happened, my heart nearly exploded. I was like, fuck, I killed somebody. And then all of a sudden it came down to the thing where I was like, all right, these guys are just fried and they're okay. And eventually I just stopped like freaking out. But for a while I was like, like I was just like, this is going to be so bad.
I mean, some guys dropped the bag in the middle of the round. Like they were on round 2 going into 3, dropped it and laid on the ground in like a fetal position to then rest for 30 seconds to get back up and go into their clean and squat again.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, even Ida at the end, or Ida, I don't know how to properly say her name. She was in a ball. She was in a ball at the end. I was like, oh my God. I had to go over there and check in on her too. So then last but not least, obviously the Hypercon course. And that was probably the craziest thing because, you know, a lot of people just were not ready for that heat. I think probably maybe like less than 50% of people finished it for sure. Maybe even less than 30%.
There was a big bottleneck that they got through the strip 1, strip 2, and on strip 3, where it was the one where it was right before the rings with the split off V for the metal, like swinging back and forth. It was the one where you get up, you swing. I think a lot of people stopped here or got to this point and they couldn't get any further. But it was like you hanging on the 2 ropes and then pulling your body through. Then the next one was you're swinging with the ring and you're supposed to hook it onto the metal V's. A lot of people stopped right there and got caught. It's tough. So that time your forearms are shot.
Yep. I mean, like, so when I originally created this thing.
So you designed the actual obstacles that Austin put in there.
Yep.
Wow.
I wanted it to be like Broken Skull Ranch, but I wanted it to get incrementally harder over time. I was just like, lane 1 was supposed to be a sprint. Lane 2 was supposed to be a little bit harder. Lane 3 was supposed to be like, holy crap.
Yeah.
And it was supposed to get harder over time. And like, it's supposed to be a ranking system. Each obstacle is scored in points. So like, you know, you get to the score, the last one, you have the score of 1. You didn't get through the first obstacle, you have the score of 22. And there's time penalties of 30 seconds on top of each one. And like, you really saw, like, people just didn't finish.
Yeah.
People didn't finish. And it was like pretty crazy to watch, like, the amount of like high level athletes. Even Rylan at the end was about 7 seconds behind the course record. And then he finished 1 minute and 20 seconds behind it because he could not get over the champagne popper.
That's
the last one. It's not really called champagne popper, but I think it's like cliffhanger is what Tough Mudder called it at some point. But I call it the champagne popper.
I think we saw a video of you in an orange vest doing, it might have been TMX, where that was the final obstacle to get up and over, to where if you have enough strength, the quickest way is that muscle up. Yeah. Holy hell. So it's going to be one of these kind of things where it gets like really better over time, and it's going to get more interesting over time. And now VJ is the course record holder. Knight is the course record holder. So it's going to be one of these kind of things where we keep on bringing back athletes to challenge them and get like really good championship level scores. It was awesome to see like VJ in his element, like going through that and just fucking crushing, you know, through that whole course. It's like, that's his thing.
Yeah. I'm pretty gosh darn pumped to see where this thing goes. I was like, where would I stack up in this? I might have to go throw my name back in the hat, or hat in the ring. Yeah, so pretty cool stuff. We're gonna have a more comprehensive breakdown. I guess as we're kind of wrapping this thing up, I want to just answer some questions for people here. Tattooed climber, any tips for my first high rocks in February? You should probably get on HAOS training. I think the best way to really handle like getting ready for an event that you've never done before is like, go get with a group of people that have done it. If you care about your results, if you just want to show up, like, go have fun, keep on working out, watch videos that other people post about it, but get a good coach. I think it's really, really important. Like, I always pay for a coach. Like, I have a coach for my canoeing experience. I had somebody help me out with my Ironman training, all this kind of stuff. Because if you care about results, you should get knowledge from the people who know best.
Yeah, High Rocks is this weekend in Illinois.
Hell yeah, dude! Is it Chi-Town, and is it the same venue or no?
No, they're coming back, I think, at the beginning of January or February at Navy Pier, which is where it's always been. But this is, I think it's going to be in a suburb of Chicago.
Cool.
It's not actually downtown, Navy Pier and area.
Yep. Looks like right here, I didn't see the monkey bar for the Rogue Invitational. We were too focused on our own amazing event, Drew, to focus on the Rogue Invitational, but they're doing a great job. I think that's pretty gosh darn cool. It's amazing to see like the size that CrossFit has established in some of these events and the viewership. Like, that's the one thing that I made a note of saying when we wrapped up the entire weekend. I was like, guys, this is a community, and if you want to grow this thing, you have to support.
Yeah.
Like, you
10 people share these videos.
Yeah, 10 people on a boat versus one person on a boat. Like, if I'm on my boat rowing, if you guys all get in and help me out, it's going to go a lot farther and a lot faster. The CrossFit community is cultish. They're obsessive. They are super supportive. There's a reason why the cash prizes are in like the millions of dollars, because these guys just have the way of just bringing in so much energy into the events. Their viewership's massive. Their athlete participation's massive. We're trying to do that. And that's like the way Battle Bunker is really designed, is like, viewership and media is, we're trying to make these athletes look like stars. So if you guys are fans of this thing and you're an athlete that's participated or a spectator, like, do your best to spread the word, because we're going to keep on growing this thing. There's a reason why I'm even on the show right now, is because I understand the best way to grow the projects that I'm doing is by getting behind and pumping up the media, even if it's just myself talking all the time. It's the best way to get it going. And if people like yourself are tuning in, sending in comments and questions and stuff, and then sharing it, it grows it. So get behind it and share it.
Here you go. Brian's got a big question here. Thoughts on High Rocks doubles challenge you laid down? It's High Rocks' interest to sort that out as sport needs personalities and rivalries. We have not covered that yet. Yeah, there was a bit of like bad blood. They were kind of pissed off at your 5,000. I'll take you on at this course. Let's be nice to each other.
I was talking about this the other day with somebody, and they were saying, like, do you know, like, how popular the UFC was before Conor McGregor came in? Not that popular.
I can't imagine it was very popular.
It wasn't, and it wasn't interesting. And then UFC became global, and Conor McGregor became global because they changed the narrative in the way that they made these fights happen.
Mm-hmm.
They got into this bad mouth and trash talking.
It was almost like a WWF, like, come in here, brother.
Yeah. And like, I'm not picking on these guys. I'm riling them up. And you know what? They set the world record because I was making fun of them the day before. They missed our record multiple times. And so what? They got it. I said, hey, listen, I don't really care about records. The best way to improve, to prove yourself is to come beat me face to face. And like, I'm not only the doubles world record holder, I'm the world record holder individually, and I'm the 2-time world champion of this sport. I was like, you guys are barking up the wrong tree. And as if you guys want to like pretend like they bantered back and then they got offended because they're too scared and they have no follow through. I put money down because listen, I compete for cash. These guys say we don't compete in High Rocks for cash. I was like, okay, if that's the case, every single time you get $1 from this point, I want you to pick a charity and give it away.
Donate 100%.
You've already made that statement. I compete for cash because it's what I do for a living. I don't live with my parents like you guys do. I bust my ass. I own companies. I'm making moves. And if I'm going to get up off the couch and I'm going to come compete, someone better show up with some cash. And High Rocks doesn't pay for doubles. Mm-hmm. And I'm not showing up and doing anything that's not really going to align with my future being a better one.
Yeah.
So I don't need to beat you guys. I've beaten you guys every single time I've competed against you. And it's not like Hunter's making fun of you. I'm just reading a sheet of paper. Like if I typed it into the phone and then Siri said it, these are just facts that I'm reading off. They're just coming out of my mouth. So you're offended by it. Mm-hmm. So at this point, I will do a doubles championship, but they have to bring money. And I'm not taking money from High Rocks. I'm taking money from them. Mm-hmm. I want them to put money down and put, money where their mouth is and compete. And,
put your pink slip up, as Vin
put
Diesel
your pink
would
slip
say.
up. And if I lose, I'll give you money. Like I can take $5,000 out of my closet right now. Like it's not a big deal. And you guys should do the same. And I think it's better for the sport. It's not better for me. It's better for the sport. You guys would be lucky if we all of a sudden made doubles cool enough for people to start paying attention. Mm-hmm. So people are already listening and asking. You guys should try to do something about this rather than sit there and say that I've offended you. Like, be motivated by it, okay? Someone pokes you in the chest, don't crumble. Stand up a little bit taller. So that would be my point. Your dad wrote something nice. Battle Bunker was awesome to watch. Next event, is it possible to have the scoreboard to see the standings competed? Tom, we did want to do that, but you have to understand, like, there's 64 athletes, and when we were doing scoring, we literally would get everybody done, and we'd have an hour and 15 minutes until the next one. The scoring could not be done in the period of time that was necessary to have it like ready for you guys to see. And I couldn't verify it. So like everything was unofficial, and I didn't want to put things up and get people all upset because scores changed 30 minutes before the podium because I had to go review and watch videos because I said, no, this is not true. And based on what my judges did, and I'm not picking on judges, people make mistakes. It's their first time doing this. It's my first time doing this. I had to go back and watch film. So there's a reason why I didn't put scores up. I even had like Austin take down all these videos that he'd posted because people were taking screenshots of videos and then zooming in to look at our scoreboards and stuff and then messaging me and saying, hey, how is this possible? I didn't get this. And I was like, do not look at those things as the answers. Like those are just representations of us doing some math. Like it's not the final standings. So it was it was like an MIT level math class behind the scenes every single time. And we were doing the best of our ability to get it out.
And it wasn't changing the rules mid-game. It was like verifying what the established rules are and making sure you had the math correct as to what your standards were going to be for each individual thing.
I would set the workout. I would set the scores, the point structure to it, and then I would give people the scorecards. And then they'd go through. Like, here's the workout. Here's the scoring. Here are the scorecards. 1, 2, 3, actions. Mm-hmm. And then they'd take it, and then all of a sudden we would get into the room and we'd say, hey, guys, like, what's the highest level score here? I'm like, it should be in the high 70s for this one. Mm-hmm. all of a sudden someone raises up like 77 points. Another person raises their hands like, I have 81. So we'd find out like their highest point, and then we'd start going through with everybody on the sheet of paper and start breaking it down like that. That's literally how we had to do the scoring in line, because there was so many points of data. We had to find out who was the top of the ladder and then start going down from there. Like, it was a process.
Mm-hmm.
So all of a sudden, once we got the flow going, I would walk out of the room and say, guys, I'm trusting that you got this. I have to leave and go start setting up the next workout. And they'd be like, okay, I'll bring you the scorecard and I'll make sure. And so they would bring me the scorecard for FUBAR, and I'd say, okay, this is the top 8 athletes because they're the first wave. And I was like, yep.
Mm-hmm.
So we set them in, boom, on to the next thing. I know that's a long-winded, complicated answer, but that's really what it looked like. Let's sign off on this thing. You got anything else you want to say?
Welcome to training camp. We're going to put this on the podcast, but welcome to training camp. Everyone that bought in. I hit my workout this morning. I feel great. German volume training is look good naked, and I'm so excited.
I did mine yesterday, dude, and I'm so sore.
Yeah. Well, I was going to okay, I can back squat more than 45 pounds on the bar, but I'm doing it 10 different times. So I didn't put more than 45 and 5 on each side. And then I took them off and almost did like 35 pounds on each side because I was doing 10 reps each.
So you did bar plus 2 45s plus 5s.
No. Bar. And then on one side was a 45 and the other side was a 45 and then a 5 pound. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. So you're at 145. Dude,
Mm-hmm.
I did front squats yesterday. I started out with 115 for the first 6 rounds.
Yeah.
And then I went to 155 for the last 2 rounds. And like, I was just like, this is brutal. My thighs and ass cheeks are on fire. And then I did the dumbbell deadlifts.
Mm-hmm.
And I told people, I was like, yo, you guys, like, I told everybody, like, it's going to be really easy the first couple weeks because you're going to be so sore. If I give you more, you're going to be like, wow, I can't do this program. I don't know what I'm doing here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I posted about it in our group, but I think it's like an ego check. It's like, yes, you can definitely put up more weight, but you're also doing 10 rounds of this. So you have to imagine like, okay, do I want to walk tomorrow? If I do, you need to ease up on the weight so you can do 10 rounds and then immediately go into tomorrow's like kind of active recovery hour hike or run.
Yeah, man, it's one of these kind of things where people are going to learn.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really excited, guys. If you have not checked out training camp, we still have a couple more days to sign things up because we understand people last minute are going to find out about this thing with all the people posting. You guys can still get in this last week, and then we're closing the door. Obviously, we want to have people have the best experience possible, but it's not helpful to get you guys in a couple weeks, and it's best to start and stick it out. So thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll have another show this week. We'll put some notes up. Ryan, I have to go cruise hard, and I'm going to go pick up my boat finally.
Woo!
So, guys, more tuned in, and I'll be Ironman training, boat training, and in the gym getting shredded. So if you guys are interested in any of those things, shoot us comments and write any kind of notes in the comments below this video if you guys want to see something cool for next show. It's going to be a real comprehensive breakdown of Battle Bunker, interviewing some athletes and stuff. So if you have questions, leave it in the comments in the YouTube section, and I'll get it done.
Are we getting Austin later in the week?
I hope so.
Oh,
I'm going to get a couple people. All right, guys.
Later, guys.
Ryan, I'll call